visitors over there, or are they just stealing our
No.
refreshments? They stealing our refreshments, those people? Meeting of the Charter Revision Board for December 15th, 2025. It is 5:30. And let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Jim, would you lead us?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If the clerk could call the roll, please.
Mr. Albetta?
Here.
Mr. Hankerson?
Here.
Ms. Norris Weeks? Here. Ms. Pelton?
Here.
And Chair Woods?
Sure. I would be remiss if I did not thank Junia for those wonderful refreshments. She baked those cookies all herself.
Thank you.
Okay, I know that there's some typographical error. I wanted to ask the clerk's office who was in charge of reviewing these minutes, cause the mayor's name's spelled wrong and some stuff like that, and I wonder if there's some level of review that we could get before we get them.
So normally the draft minutes are reviewed by the liaison or department, only because we do have 37 boards, so it would be tough to review all of them, but
Okay.
they
All
certainly
right.
should be
No problem.
required to.
Okay, there's some typographical errors which are gonna be corrected. Paul, you'll please be in touch with the clerk to correct them. Okay, other than those typographical errors, does anybody have any additions, deletions? Could I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I so move to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Michael Albetta seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, old business, Paul, take it away.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's start with 8.21, which is what you wanted to start with for this meeting. And that is on Exhibit B, page 1 of 2. And let me suggest, just concentrate really on the new language which is in the blue. The original language is above it and below some.
Hold on, I didn't get
We're
there.
not,
We got a lot of pages, we got
Yeah.
exhibit A.
I'm on 5 of 9 right now.
Exhibit B, exhibit's on exhibit B, right?
Okay,
So it's pretty deeply in there.
okay.
So some of these have.
Michael, are you thinking about which carol you're gonna sing?
Yes. Okay. So concentrate on the blue, and actually this is one where you can also look at the markup. Sometimes there's so much markup that we didn't provide the markup. In any event,
8.21.
8.21. So what we did, and this is one that I guess you didn't have enough time at the last meeting and you wanted to address it first at this meeting. So-
Frankie.
To sell or transfer park land, and I'm abbreviating that, it's actually zoned parks, recreation, or open space, would require approval by referendum at a special election. And we're talking about, parkland. So whereas lease, license, concession, facility use agreement, any of those types of agreements regarding parkland would require the unanimous vote of the entire city commission. So to sell, it would be referendum at a special election, but to lease, license, concession, et cetera, it would be unanimous vote of the entire city commission. Now, land zoned park on or after the effective date of the amendment would require a unanimous vote of the entire city commission to remove the park designation. That zoning category. And at the city commission meeting, there was discussion about the possibility of rezoning parkland in advance of the charter amendment that would require a referendum for the sale or transfer of parkland and unanimous vote for lease, license, concession, or other use of the parkland. And as was done in 2002, as was done in 2004, when there was an amendment to this section, the city commission asked to insert the date of the amendment. So I left it blank pending drafting of the ordinance, but accordingly, any land zone parks, recreation, open space on the effective date of the charter amendment could be rezoned only with the unanimous vote of the entire city commission to remove such designation.
Okay.
And that's in C.
Okay, so conceptually, do we have any discussion over these three different items?
Yeah, having been on the Parks Board, there were a lot of parks that weren't zoned parks. And they, it seemed like every third meeting, it was brought up to the commission and they, voted to change the zoning to parks. It was just, land. I haven't been on the Parks Board for a while. Do we know if there are any other like areas that are considered parks that aren't zoned parks?
I think they covered them all
I think so too, but when.
already, cause the last time it went was several months ago and Chris Cooper was representing it at that point, and he said that, pretty sure he said, I'll check. But
Okay.
I think they've got them all.
I would think so, but I just wasn't sure, cause that just, I could just see somebody saying, oh, well, that one wasn't
Wasn't on the
zoned.
list.
So,
Okay.
alright, but other than that, I'm doing
So,
good.
I'm gonna point out, there's one difference in my drafting as compared to what happened in 2004, because I put on any land zone parks on, and I inserted, and maybe you can consider this, on or after the effective date of the amendment shall require a unanimous vote. I'm not sure really
do
what
have
the
that, yeah.
difference was
difference-
back then.
Now it's if it's designated park today, it's covered, or if they buy another piece of property and they zone it parks, then this would cover it as well.
Yeah, because in
Yeah,
two
it's
thousand four
covered,
it
okay.
didn't,
It's
for
prospective.
some reason, it didn't say
Yeah.
or after.
Alright,
Well, I mean, cause part of the Parks Bond is to buy land for
Yeah,
parks.
right.
It's been very difficult to do, but, so there could be something that's, so that covers it. I didn't really consider.
Okay.
Okay,
And just one other thing, I guess on the concession agreements, I'm assuming none of these agreements will require investment on the part of the concessionaire for build out or anything like that, because otherwise an agreement for no more than a year wouldn't make any sense. But I don't know, did we pick that up from somewhere, the concession agreement part of this?
That was an effort to make the term agreement inclusive of all types of use agreements. Because there were lease agreements, there were license agreements or concessions, there were facility use and.
permits.
Yeah, and that was the board's effort to include them all.
We're trying to eliminate creative lawyering by sort of sticking to a word, saying this is not a lease, this is not a license, and by calling it something else. And I guess there was some concern expressed that the people were sort of skirting, that there was some skirting of the prohibition by just calling things differently.
Okay, but do you understand, like if you're a concessionaire, you have, let's say, I don't know, something that everyone loves, Chick-fil-A. And you want Chick-fil-A to stay there because they make a heck of a lot of money
Yes.
for the city and
Yeah.
the city gets a cut on all of those concession stands and if they'll stay there for more than a year, you want them there. Whatever the case may be, but I'm just kind of thinking under those circumstances, but if this came up for a specific reason, I'm not
But this
trying to-
came up for that reason,
Okay.
but my thinking about this is that I trust the elected officials. And I feel like if they're going to approve, and it takes a unanimous vote to approve one of these things. And so if somebody feels like that there should be some investment required by the concessionaire or something, that they'll object and it won't go through. So that, I feel like somebody would be, is that what you're saying, that there should be?
Well, I understand the rationale behind it. I'm only thinking just from a practical standpoint, if you're managing this for things not to need to go to the city commission, if this was something that was discussed and this is what the city commission would like to see, fine, no problem.
I think
But I'm just thinking, in cases where you have using Chick-fil-A again, and the manager can have a multi-year agreement with the consent of commissioner or something, I don't know. But never mind, just strike it. We'll move on.
I have
May I just interject something? I think it's the idea that private use would curtail the public use, so that's why it takes a higher threshold for approval.
This came out of the pickleball courts and other things that have happened where sort of public land has been sort of commercialized. That's, and so,
That may just be a bad agreement, but but got it.
okay, I have a couple of items, Paul. Not that this is drafted poorly, but I think that there should be an introductory sentence that says notwithstanding anything to the contrary in this charter, or, you know, cause here, see, in the second one you have, in the third one you have unified land development regulations, you have those words, you don't have those words in B or A. You see what I'm saying? See,
It's there, Unified Land Development Regulations.
is it in B?
Yeah.
Where?
But
Oh, there it is. Anyway, what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring it up to the top and make it very clear that any land that is designated under the city's Unified Land Development Regulations as parks, recreation, open space shall be treated as follows, or something like that. And then have A,
okay.
a special election, B, the substance is the same. Also, Bernadette brought up a very good point, which you probably wasn't intending to bring up. What about a renewal? I think renewal should be included here in these I think it should be, cities shall not enter nor renew. Because they already might have an agreement with Chick-fil-A. And since they already have an agreement, maybe there's a renewal there. So I think it should be
Yeah, I just don't think this even belongs in the charter, but that's fine. I think it's overbroad, it ties the hands of the manager. And if you have a Chick-fil-A, let's say, and they've done a certain amount of build out that first year, and then, you know, everybody thinks they're coming back, but you have one commissioner who is just against everything. And, you know, and
I think if it was for 1 year, they would, so this would be for, the second one's for more than a year. And so they would say, okay, I'm not doing a build out like that unless I have a 5-year deal.
I don't think it belongs here, but that's fine, I'm just wondering.
So for renewal though, whoever drafts the agreement will have to know to make the renewal contingent on unanimous vote of the entire city commission. That'll have to be in the agreement.
What
Hopefully
if that doesn't happen?
hopefully the drafter will know that.
It doesn't belong in the charter, it really doesn't, not that particular thing.
Okay, so if the
Maybe the
agreement,
rest of it.
if the agreement has to be approved in a particular way,
Do we
then the
know?
city commission could put in the agreement, whatever it wants to. If it wants to put in that it has to come back for renewal, it could put it in. If they don't want to, they don't have to. So I'm okay with leaving it out.
Okay, so
I'm
not
okay with leaving it out.
not include renewals?
Okay, I'm sort of a park protector,
Me too, but I'm talking only about one specific thing, but
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, that's all I'm talking about.
If you wanna put a chip, but anyway, but
This concession
I
is-
did this when I was on the Broward Charter Review. We put a whole thing there, protection of parks. And I think that there's just,
I was on there with you.
yeah, I remember that. But I think it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, you know. Hey, let's take this little corner of this and this little corner of that. I understand there's some parks over on the beach or basketball courts on the beach that they're talking about doing into pickleball court, you know, I don't know.
Yeah,
But I just,
you think that would fall, that would?
if it's a lease, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, but, okay, so Paul, subject to Paul revising the language, I don't think we need to see this again, do we? We're done. Okay, all in favor of approving this based upon the discussion we've had?
And it's really, if I may, it's really just the first thing that you discussed with the intro sentence.
Yes, just that, otherwise we didn't make any changes, okay? All right, good, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? No, done, next.
3.03.
Okay,
Exhibit C, page 1 of 10. This was a simple one. At your direction, I changed 6 months permanent residence to 12 months. Actually, I think you said a year, but I don't think it makes a difference. 12 months, and deleted the criterion in D that I had included previously based on some case law. It's not there, but I'll tell you what it was. Evidence of carrying on of activities normally indicative of home life within the city or district as applicable. You didn't like that, the breadth of that, carrying on of
Is it stricken
activities.
somewhere?
No, I just,
We just took it out because
Took it out.
this section has so many edits. This is one we kind of just had cleaned up.
yeah, we're gonna have to go back and do the markup.
And by the way, the city commission is free to do whatever they want with it. I know they had some, the mayor was, I watched some of it and the mayor was looking for some specific criteria. If that's what they decide to do, that's fine. I think that at least Bernadette and I sort of feel like case law sort of defines this stuff and just trying to make it very specific. I don't mean to speak for you, but I think you agree with me. Okay, all right. All in favor of the revised? No, we need a motion. Nadine, would you mind moving this?
I moved that, section 3.03.
Okay, second by somebody, please.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good, Paul.
Next one is 3.04. And at your direction, that's on page 4 of 10.
Okay.
At your direction, we added the city clerk's ministerial review of the documentation necessary to demonstrate compliance with the charter and applicable law. I think that was a word that the clerk preferred, ministerial, since that's his function. And we inserted that as the first sentence. And then we changed, this is kind of neither here nor there, we changed the order of the qualifications of its members, referendums, and municipal elections, just to make it flow better.
Comments?
We actually, you may wanna change, reverse the title also, because qualifications, I don't know, judge of elections comes
Flip it
later. I
around.
don't know.
Call it judge of qualification of members and elections, let's flip that around.
Okay.
Any discussion about this?
members and judge of elections?
That
Can I have a mo-
captures my concerns.
Any motion, please?
I'll move the item.
Moves, second by
Somebody say.
Nadine, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Paul?
Next is 4.08. All we did there, so this is an ancillary one to 4.06, I think it was, where the city manager prefers if you look at the second paragraph,
I'd like to, I really don't know what you're, there's, the only change
the
you
only
made.
change is change it,
Oh, the
it's
interim?
acting to interim.
Okay.
Consistent with what you approved in 4.06 last time.
Any discussion? Motion, please? Michael?
I have to make the motion to accept this.
Any,
It's in two places.
any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Both
Opposed?
paragraphs, yeah.
Okay, 602.
602 is the same. Look at subparagraph A, changes that to act from acting to interim.
Motion, please?
I so move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Next is 8.09. This is so we have, excuse me, we provided a proposal, but then Gabrielle and I came up with an improvement. So she's passing that out and I'll explain.
Thank you.
what is the black and what is the blue?
Blue, the first black is usually original. The blue
So
is
is this the
how-
original right here, that original 309, okay?
Except for 8.09, hold on a second.
There's a blue one, but there's no strike and underline.
Okay, yeah. So the blue is what it would be finally, since there are so many changes, we haven't done the strike through yet. It's gonna be, we're gonna have to go back and do the markup.
I gotta tell you that, what is the difference between this and what I reviewed in preparation for the meeting?
I'll explain. Okay. So let me just start with this. Based on direction that we received at the city commission meeting, you asked us to bring back language that would allow lease, license, and use agreements exceeding 50 years in duration with a unanimous vote of the city commission. And that was consistent with, there was discussion at the meeting about condominiums and the ability to lease property for more than 50 years because it would have to be more than 50 years in order for there to be condominiums placed on the property. So for clarity, we created subsections A for agreements exceeding 1 year and 10 years. And then B requiring a unanimous affirmative vote of the entire city commission for an agreement for a period exceeding 50 years. So we split those paragraphs. For what we did today, in addition to the version that you had, for additional clarity, we added the subsection A requirements to B.
You know what, this is long, let's go through this slowly because it's a lot, if you guys don't mind. The city is hereby empowered to lease or concession, is that a word to concession, is that a?
This is original, so look at the blue.
But the blue doesn't show what we changed.
Well, that's what he said.
Well, we didn't previously either because there was so much that was changed and it was.
So he's saying they haven't gotten to it yet, but you're
Yeah.
going to do the strike throughs, you
We'll
just
have
didn't
to,
have time
yeah,
to
we're
do
gonna
it,
have to
is what
do
you're
it,
saying.
we're gonna have to do it for the ordinance, yeah, of course. But the blue is what would come out as the final.
The city is hereby empowered to enter into lease agreements, license agreements, concession agreements, facility use agreements, and other types of use agreements with private parties, each is an agreement, for periods including any renewals or extensions. For the use of, I think that this is a little confusing, the way you phrase this. For periods, including any renewals or extensions, for the use of any improved or unimproved real property, including owned by the city and not needed for city. This is a little confusing.
What we did is split the A and B. We-
I just feel like the first
But you-
paragraph's confusing.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think for the
starting off
most part you
saying
were
for
okay
the
with
use of any improved or unimproved real property and then go into, not the very first sentence, but go into I see what Richard's saying.
It's a little, I just
Yeah.
don't know, it says for periods, including any renewals or extensions. I don't know what that means even, for periods including any, I mean, I think it's a duration of any, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's deal with the substance and then let's deal with the words. What are the concepts here? Okay, the first paragraph, irrespective of the wording, says they're allowed to enter into these agreements for different periods of time, correct? Okay,
Right.
okay, so then what is it?
So A is periods exceeding 1 year, but less than 50.
Okay, so if it's for more than 1 year, right? There's a resolution adopted by affirmative vote of at least 4 commissioners containing a finding based on fair market value analysis of the property and evaluation of the qualifications of the private party prepared by a qualified independent consultant hired by the city at the private party's expense, that such use of property would be in the city's best interest. In addition, included in the city's commission's consideration agreement for a period exceeding 10 years shall be the consideration of a business viability report prepared by a qualified independent consultant hired by the city at the private party's expense.
So this is not really less than 50, it's anything
Well, there's
exceeding 10 years.
another section too.
So what,
50 sub B.
so Gabrielle just pointed out, since we split it into 2 this way, we might wanna add in A for a period exceeding 1 year, but not exceeding 50 years.
I think there should be A, B, and C. I think you need a third one. You need one, which is for 1 year,
For less than 1 year.
Less than 1 year is dealt in a different section.
So this is an agreement for a period exceeding 1 year, 1 year but less than 10 years. So less than 11 years.
Wouldn't that just fall under the, less than 50 years? I mean, why would you need a whole new section for that?
Because the 50 years is, see, the last sentence of A deals with periods exceeding 10 years. So, yes, Michael.
No, I was saying, that's, you know.
That's sort of like
the wording right there is 10
it's sort of
years.
like, yeah, there, but it should be separate,
So 1 to 10 and then
yes.
therefore,
Yeah.
and the other C.
So it's really we have 3 categories. 4. Won't be 4, less than 1 year. Then we have 1 year to, and less than, 1 year to, and less than 11. Right?
It could still be
Or
less than 10 years.
Less than 10 years? 1 year and less than 10.
Less than
And then
10,
we have between 10
then
and 50,
to 50,
and then we have over 50.
that's correct.
So let's divide it up that way. I think it will be a little bit clearer. So the only difference between less than 10 and more than 10 is that there's an extra report due.
Right.
Okay. An agreement for a period exceeding 50 years shall be pursuant to resolution adopted by unanimous affirmative vote. The entire city commission containing a finding based on fair market value analysis of the property, valuation by the qualifications of the project prepared by a qualified expense at such use of the property. To me
We
personally,
repeated that, we
Right, yeah.
repeated that language from.
to me, honestly, personally, if it's a unanimous vote, I'd be happy to just say it requires a unanimous vote, because all that stuff, they can require whatever they want. You know, but that's me. I would just say, you know, because I think that's the safeguard, but
Yeah, I think people will be confused by it.
it's a lot of stuff.
What you suggested makes it a lot easier to.
I'll tell you what we could also do, which I did in the, we did this, I don't mind a footnote in the charter that says the Charter Review Commission recommends that if you're gonna be exceeding for blah, 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 that a report be done, and it's not part of the charter, it's just a recommendation. What do you think of that?
I've never seen a footnote in the charter.
You haven't seen one of my charters.
I haven't.
Anyway, it's up to you, how do you feel? You wanna leave that report language in, you wanna take it out, you wanna put it in a footnote?
Did this come from the commission? Was this one of their recommendations?
It came from us.
If not, okay. Yeah, I think it's convoluted, but
So what do you think, what do you think?
I don't mind your suggestion about less than 50 years requiring unanimous vote.
Well, that's here.
I'm sorry, not, hold on, that's not what you said, is it?
Can we just clarify something? What came from the commission was to have the ability for over 50.
Yeah, so we're covered, we're taking care of this.
For more than 50 years, yeah, okay. Yeah,
Like
so-
the EMR or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, cause
right.
your original recommendation was not. And then what we tried to do was we tried to
Well, you know,
make
if
it
that
easier
happens,
to
it's never
read.
gonna, it's never gonna happen.
Right.
You will always have someone who will, I'm for public land, blah, 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 and which it should be, right? It should, that's the whole point, right? So,
I think if there's a project that's so wonderful, I mean, there are projects that are approved unanimously, I mean, right? Things that get approved because everybody says this is a great deal. And you know what, if it has to be approved unanimously, then they're gonna have to satisfy the one person and say, you know, I don't feel good about this term or that term, or give me a they're just gonna have to compromise. I mean, they're gonna have to work with each other to compromise to get a unanimous vote. I think 50 years leasing for the city property for 50 years is pretty, it's like almost like a sale.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, we're all dead.
And there's that.
And there's that.
Okay, so what do you guys, let's just, what, do you wanna leave this report language in, and the expert and all that in, or do you wanna take it out? What's the feelings, what are people's feelings?
Are we going with the 1 year then from anywhere from
We're gonna divide
A to C?
we're gonna divide into 3 parts. The
Okay,
questions is,
okay.
what's required in each part? So, in the,
Mr. Chair, excuse me.
Yeah.
Because there are some parks in the city of Fort Lauderdale that have vendors that come in that are not gonna stay there for 10 years.
this is not parks.
This is not part.
This is, we did, the first section was parks.
Right.
This wouldn't apply to parks, right, Paul?
Correct.
We have a separate, more restrictive section on parks.
Okay.
So,
So,
good.
I don't know if this is significant at all, but some of this language came about as a result of discussions of the board that was composed previously of different
Yep.
members.
Yep.
So I don't know that you folks vetted this in much depth in your discussion, but this was based on
Yeah.
the previous
It's
board.
historical. Okay, let me go through it then slowly. So, 1 year to 10 years, this language requires a resolution containing a finding based on fair market value, analysis of the property, and an evaluation of the qualifications of the private party that's hired by the city at the party's expense, that such use of the property is in the city's best interest, in addition, including the city commission consideration of any agreement for a period exceeding, so the first sort of requirement, in addition to the vote, is that they put these type of words in the resolution. It doesn't require it does require a evaluation prepared by a qualified, so it requires a consultant. So between 1 and 10 years, this requires a consultant. Do we wanna leave the consultant language in, or we just wanna leave it up to the city commission as to what they want to do?
I don't know so much consulting, cause that's going to require, if somebody's 1 or 2 year lease, why do they need a consultant?
This is more than 1 year, we'd require a consultant hired at the private party's expense,
Right, and so
1 to
that-
10 years.
1 to 10 years.
I think it's because of market conditions and the viability of the business and what the city would receive, whether it's a percentage of gross receipts, whether it's a lump sum amount, whatever the proposal may be, there are different.
Between 1 and 10,
Variations,
between
variables.
1 and 10 years, it requires a simple majority vote of the city commission. And requiring the private party consultant is some sort of a safeguard that it just doesn't turn into some sort of political thing. And there's gotta be a report done, and
It's viable,
in theory, and it's, yeah, and
viable business.
somebody who's opposed to it would somebody who's in favor would have to explain away this private consultant's report in order to vote on it. It's a little bit of a built-in protection.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you all got this a little bit from the P3 statute. Is that where you borrowed some of this from, which would require the consultants to sort of pay their own way when they make the application to be a P3, they have to put money down. I don't know what the city of Fort Lauderdale requires now to do it.
25,000,
but-
I did the resolution,
Yeah, but
25,000.
yeah, to even be reviewed, and then, but the statute says, the changes in the statute say that that if additional money is required, and I'm assuming you added that to your P3 statute,
Yes.
then they have to give the additional money, so
That's in the
I'm
resolution.
thinking that may have been some of the thinking
It may have
behind
been,
this.
I don't recall that discussion, I think this was something, I think this may have been original by one, an
This
idea
was
of one of the members.
there was a very, with the two, I don't know how many charter review boards, there was a very strong feeling that the city commission was just giving away stuff based upon whatever the current events were at that time. And so a lot of this stuff was put in reaction to that, which is, that we're natures, or, we're creatures of the times, right? So that's what that was, and that a lot of these things were put in to keep the city, to put some guardrails on the city commission, that's why it was there.
Yeah, that's fine, I don't have a problem with it, I mean, if it were P3, it will already be caught in your P3 ordinance, so.
Okay. So are people generally comfortable with leaving the consultant in for less than 10 years and then adding even more of a consultant for between 10 and 50 years?
I think the 10 to 50 is more of the consultant. Less than that, I think that it might be.
Just an affirmative.
I think it's affordability kind of thing. Poor people who have great ideas may not ever be able to come to the table. So I'm just saying is that somewhere there needs to be a balance in terms of what the requirement. I don't know, somehow the money has to balance out what it is that someone is doing or asking for a lease for. Cause the lease could be very much simplistic, that does not require a consultant.
Well, maybe the numbers are wrong. Maybe up to, maybe two, maybe 1 to 3 years or something like that shouldn't require anything because, or and maybe that 3 to 10 years should require it. There's nothing magic about the numbers.
Right.
Maybe,
But the time span in which you're asking.
but I'll tell you, the reason that the protections are there, some of the protections were put in, is because they are putting up a concession on city property. And honestly, if somebody doesn't have the money to hire a consultant, we're not talking about $50,000 here, I don't know, what do you think, like person would charge
It
it?
depends on the type of
If
business.
it's a 2-year, 3-year lease to put up a surfboard place in someplace, it's gonna be couple $1,000, even that, that's what we're talking about here.
like that.
Yeah, but
And the
to-
thought is that people shouldn't be, sorry.
No, go ahead.
People shouldn't, if they don't have we wanna make sure that whoever we're leasing to has the wherewithal to do a nice job and to use the city property, and not just gonna put something up and go out of business quickly.
Right, but the person who's putting up the business could be an expert in doing it.
You're right.
I have a question. What do you suppose is meant by qualified independent consultant? What kind of consultant does that really
Okay,
mean?
let me
How
just,
does that person go?
Yeah, I asked that.
yes, not now. We're dealing with things at 10,000 feet. Do we wanna have a consultant at all?
Right, I think the longer the time span, yes, because now you
So
kind
if
of-
we could revise this and say more, for more than a year, for less than 3 years, just a
Yes.
vote of the city commission. Between 3 years and less than 10,
10.
then I'm okay with the word qualified. You know what? The city's gonna hire them and, they're
Well, they
paid for
need
the.
some qualifications.
It's qualified, who knows what qualified is, I don't even know. And then over 10 years, the additional report, which is the viability report. And then that's between 10 and 50, and over 50, fair market value analysis, and I think it's the unanimous vote, right? Yeah. How do people feel about that as a compromise to let the smaller concessionaire not have to pay for a consultant?
You wanna know what AI said about the cost of the consultant?
AI?
Yeah.
Sure.
It said for a small business consultant, for a small concession, you're looking at anywhere $40 to over $300 an hour. Project-based fee ranging from $1,500 to $10,000 plus,
I think
depending
that's
on
right.
the scope.
Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, just to deal with conception, do we have some consensus to basically divide it up a little bit differently? Does anybody have a problem with dividing it up that way? You're sort of in agreement?
Yeah, I think so.
Michael, you okay? Yeah, fine. Bernadette, you okay with that?
I don't have a problem, I just think this is gonna be so convoluted for the citizens to understand it well enough to vote on it. So people tend to vote no when they don't understand it.
Well,
and
that's
it's so
because the
convoluted.
ballot questions are gonna be so well drafted. Okay. So
No pressure.
I'd make a motion, I can do it. Make a motion that if we go 1 to 3 years, no consultant, just a majority, 4 votes of the city commission. We say 4 votes, or what do we say? Affirmative vote, at least 4 commissioners, good, because they could have I like 4.
A super majority of the.
Yeah, 4 votes, right? Okay, then between more than 3 but less than 10, we're gonna leave the existing language in on the consultant. Between 10 and 50, adding on a viability report. And then over 50, I'm okay with the market value analysis. Business viability, all of the part, I'm good with.
And it's unanimous, right?
It's unanimous, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna make a motion that we direct Paul and to draft that.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Paul, you got it?
So over 50, it still has a market analysis,
No change to over 50.
viability and
Nothing.
and
It's the
unanimous,
works.
okay.
Okay, so we've made it a little bit easier on the short, smaller ones, look, okay. Okay, so now,
Yes, we also updated the title to accommodate agreements exceeding 50 years.
Anybody from the public wanna have a little talk, Jim?
You had mentioned the vote count.
Yeah.
You said that four,
Oh, it says 4, not a majority, it says 4, for the last one we were discussing.
I think, yeah, I would leave it at four.
Alright, so public outreach discussion, I mean, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, sorry, I just leave it on the agenda just so we have something to talk about. I wanted to chat with maybe you and Mary, we can chat after the meeting if you like, just to, I'm willing to go and do whatever you think.
I don't
needs
know,
to
I really
happen.
don't know what the commission wants us to do, I really don't know.
Are we talking about public outreach to?
Yes, I don't know what they
Did
want us
we
to do.
ask, we asked them, and they just haven't responded yet, or?
This one gonna come in.
Yes and no.
Yes and no, so we put this whole thing together and then a lot of it hinged, well, it seemed like a lot of it was hinged on the questions that were asked as part of the survey. The survey questions caused some concern with the commission, and that appears to have unfortunately derailed the entire public outreach, which I don't think it needed to, but that was kind of the direction we were going, like, hold off on anything until we get this sorted out. Now I think we're past the point of a survey, I mean, you gotta put this on a.
Can I ask a question? What is the what is the public outreach for?
The
What are we
original-
trying to decide?
Yeah, the original intent, as I understood it, was to do a couple things. One was to educate the public on what the charter is and also talk about what the recommendations were from this board to the commission that they agreed to, probably at a high level, cause getting into the weeds, you're never gonna get it done. And then seeing what kind of feedback we got from the public at that level. Is that kind of?
I think that's all valid thing to do.
And now that we've missed the window for the survey, why can't we make more of a concerted effort to get communities here?
We can, there was a lot of discussion on how to best do that because there's so many homeowners associations and the best way to do outreach where we had kind of landed on was using the Council of Civic Associations as kind of like the launching pad for all that, so Bill was going to like assign different people and yeah.
Yeah, Michael I think was sort of on top of this.
Yeah, so may I?
Yes.
So I specifically brought in this newsletter here to show you, this is Lake Ridge, I'm the president of Lake Ridge. I would like to,
Oh, this is beautiful.
yeah, so here's the bottom line, folks.
Maybe
I
we should
don't really
advertise
feel
it.
that we, well, as a member of this community here, the CRB, that I'm doing my responsibility of carrying it through. Informing the people, I said to the last board meeting and also to the last general meeting in October, you ladies and gentlemen, does anybody in this audience know what the CRB is, or let me spell it out for you, the Charter Revision Board is? Silence. So that's alarming, that's alarm number one. Number two, we need to do, in marketing senses, the hand trick, like you show, not the whole hand, but you show part of the hand coming up. Like like we get the letter out, or we get the type of message out, we say, folks, do you know what the CRB is or the Charter Revision Board is? And explain through the voice of the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Associations, start getting this out to the 67 civic associations and start educating the constituents or the residents of Fort Lauderdale. Then we go into the next step where we would say to what the Charter Revision Board is and what it stands for and what we do, and that there is a monthly meeting here, and anyone's, would you like to attend? It's open to the public, cause people think this is a closed meeting, that it's a private meeting and that no one's allowed to sit here. So I would like to say through Bill Brown, the president, and of course, my dear good friend Jim, is that start getting the people excited about this. Start getting the message out. Start reaching out to other various different organizations besides the Charter Revision Board, to other various different associations, the NAACP. I spoke to Marsha Ellison. She says, Alberta, you're the first I'm hearing about this. So if you understand, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to say, are we all together on this, or?
Yeah, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I'm, like, for instance, watch this. See this page here, fix it, matching the new city manager is, you put it right there where people pick it up and they see it. What we're doing, how we're doing it. And if we can get Ashley, she was, the lady behind the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, and put it right there and start getting the message out. I spoke to Commissioner Glassman, I said, you're doing a piss poor job, Steve. And I said, we need to get the city, excited about this. I don't wanna repeat again what's happening. Did I make it cough?
Feeling full.
Feeling full?
I know,
I'm sorry.
he's choking on water, he's okay.
But, so, I'm sorry.
You need water?
I'm so sorry.
He's choking on water.
Was it something he ate? Did he eat something?
Where's the marketing dollars?
Right, thank you. We need to find out, is there a budget for this?
That's an Anthony question, right?
There's no budget
Where's no budget?
for that.
Well-
Not that there couldn't be, there's just
Right.
none designated now. I mean,
Right.
she's got a very limited budget when it
Yeah.
comes to.
Anthony, I think, and Michael, we've all been involved in this. I think the original plan of going out to each district and having a meeting where we would do exactly what Michael suggested,
Yeah,
there's
check
an
on-
educational.
Hope he's not choking.
We go through that,
Okay.
because remember, the basic concept was not to just get people interested, it was to get them to a position where when this goes on the election in 2026 as a referendum to change the charter, when the questions come up, they understand what the questions are. At least they have an interest in looking at the questions because they're gonna be buried on a ballot. So the idea was to get people interested enough that they would understand, all right, these are important things.
Thank you.
And I understand a little bit about what this says, and I'll read it, and I'll actually think about it, and I'll vote on it. So that's a process. I still think that sending the survey out threw everything off the rails. It was the cart before the horse, because we hadn't had the opportunity to go out and do that outreach, that educational process before the survey. So people see a survey, what's this all about? I don't even understand what this.
People did answer it though, didn't they, Anthony?
There was a minuscule number.
Was it, what got yanked?
30, it's.
No, it was way
Was
more
it more
than that,
than
yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley actually she felt like she was starting to get to statistically valid numbers.
I stand sitting.
That was very
But they were to
frustrating.
questions that weren't,
Here's a really important question. How are we planning to get this, how are we planning to frame these? Are these gonna be individual questions, which would be a lot? Or are we going to be directing people to the charter because it is such an overhaul? How are
Are you talking
all-
about in the
Yeah.
in these meetings or
No,
in the presentation?
For the question on the ballot, like
The
what
ballot,
are
yeah.
you thinking right now? How, have you, in the city attorney's office, have you guys had a conversation about it?
Well, I did some research a while ago on ballot questions. The municipalities are not subject to the single subject rule. So we can combine things, I guess we would combine things that are related. We have a 75-word limit on the question. I think the short answer though is I don't know. I'm not sure. We haven't really discussed how to present the questions. And I don't know if you want any input on that either, you may. Because there are different ways to frame those questions too. And depending on what issues go together, you.
I just like to take one step back. We're 3-4 years into this process. And from my point of view, aside from this issue, our work is done. We've gone through whatever was on our agenda, we've gone through it. So our work is, other than the outreach portion, we're done. I mean, we don't have any more stuff to go over. And at this point, the normal routine thing to do would be to do a report and give it to the city commission and say, this is what our recommendation is. At that point, the city commission is then gonna have a whole discussion about this stuff. And say, we don't wanna do that, we don't wanna, this is a great idea. And they're gonna decide what to do with this. Let's assume that we do this outreach and we get, oh, you shouldn't do that, we're gonna redo all of these things? What's the purpose of getting, at this point, when our work is done, what?
Good for you, you're on,
At this point,
you're on the, yeah,
I mean,
you hit the nail on the head.
our work, I feel like our work is, we've done our work. And we've used the bet, whoever showed up, and whatever input we've gotten over a period of, I don't know, 3, 4, whatever. And I honestly feel, I may get into that at this point, the city commission needs to take a recommendation, decide, have a big discussion about it. I mean, what is the point of discussing changing the whole parks thing if the city commission's not putting it on the ballot?
Well, that's, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
He's the chair.
You're co-chair, we're all co-chairs.
So, I hear exactly what you're saying. Wouldn't maybe outreach really comes once they decide and those 75 words are actually created? I mean, think of the time we've had like the League of Women Voters or somebody like that come to a
Right.
council meeting and they go, this is what's gonna be on the ballot, and they're very, if you vote this way, this is what could happen, if you vote that way, this is. I think maybe that's more what we should be educating people on, because if we go out and say, show them all the work, our recommendations, and then the commission doesn't pick them that way, or doesn't pay attention to them, or whatever, then we've really just been running in mud, we haven't done anything.
What we've done is confuse people because they get all excited about, oh, you can't do that because this and that and the
Yeah,
other. And the
so-
city commission has no intention of doing it anyway.
So we just wait to see what the commission does, but prod them, listen, here it is, do your stuff. And who actually ever writes the ballot?
Paul,
Down the ballot.
Okay, alright. So do that,
not me.
Please don't look at me.
Give it a go.
I did it the last time.
Yeah, well, I think that.
Do we send them the language?
Yeah.
Folks,
So we're just talking about it, we send them the language, right?
Correct.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Jania.
An ordinance is passed with the language of each ballot question, then we take that, we put it, we have to have it translated in Creole and in Spanish, and then it's submitted to them, and then they send us the
That's
proof.
assuming that the city commission decides to put even one of these items on the agenda, on the ballot, right? So I'm getting, okay, Brenda had a comment and then Nadine had a comment.
Yeah, so we, just going back a few meetings, and I remember this being like my first or second meeting. And this light bulb went off and
It's a
we're
good one.
thinking, what are we doing? We
It's a
were
good
all
one.
wordsmithing things and it was kind of ridiculous. So we took it to the city commission then kicked it back to us and said, yes, we're on track basically with finishing,
Fundamentally, yeah.
with finishing the work we were doing. So now we agree that we're at a point where we've completed what we were asked to do. And now we would send it to the city commission for the city commission to determine whether or not they agree with the various
And
sections
being the devil's
and
advocate
changes.
and Nadine, well, let me, one just second, then I'll get to you, Nadine. Being against what I said,
Here's where I have some issues. Are we asking the citizens for change? Because I'm still not sure what it is that you're going to be asking the citizens on the ballot. They have a charter, so we are asking them to change their current charter.
Correct.
So that's going to be a yes or no answer.
Correct.
And so are we then going to sparse out the pieces that you all or we all have been doing for the last year or so, or how long it is? So that's where I'm just trying
That's
to
a-
be
that's a-
clear.
That's exactly what would happen. My question is the sequence, because it may be that this, I'm concerned about creating a whole fuss over
Yeah,
nothing.
well, that's why I'm saying, we're just advisory. So whatever we've done in whatever time we've done it,
Normally-
we're advisory.
Yeah.
And so now at this point, just to your
Yeah.
point, it goes to the city commission and these are our recommendations and
So last time we did this, they said, but you didn't go out to the public. You didn't do, well,
but we have no budget,
we
have no.
tried with the survey to go to, but I don't know what they're asking us. I mean, if they're asking us to do a citywide, hey, how's your government doing? What kind of things would you, we're going through a charter review process. What would you like changed? What's working well? What's not working well? Okay, 3 years ago, maybe, we could have done that.
So at
It's
this
too late
point,
to
at
do.
this point, would then, at some point during the meeting, a motion be appropriate to have staff present a plan to the city commission and whatever they think is appropriate for this for there to be public outreach, and then tie it up with a bow, we're done. So once staff does
Here's-
their
Okay, I think it would, yeah, okay.
just finish my thought, once they do the recommendation, well, however you all think it should go to the city commission as public outreach, that we would tentatively agree to today. We're done with our work, these are our recommendations, and we're done. This would be conceivably a last meeting.
I could see that the city commission could get our report and say, what does the public think about these recommendations? And at that point, you could, the one way they could do is they could say, here's a packet of recommendations with the bow. Go out to the public and say, Charter Review Board, Revision Board has made all these recommendations for these changes. Public, what do you think? So that would be one way to do it. Another way for them to do it would be to say, we got this report tied with the bow. Undo the bow, say, we don't have any interest in putting this, or this on the ballot. And therefore, we're not gonna bother the public with it, cause all it's gonna do is get everybody all excited. And in addition, we wanna put the strong mayor on the ballot. And so here's what we propose to put on the ballot, and go get the public's opinion there. A third way to do it is say, this is the stuff we're putting on the ballot, and then go out and to educate the public on it. I don't,
So either in all of those scenarios, today could be a full stop.
Yeah.
Right? With the only thing that's left being public outreach. And so that was the problem the last time. I don't see why we wouldn't just make a motion, and have ask staff to create a plan that will go to the city commission. And in my opinion, the plan could be almost anything. I would hope that it would include more than the civic association, piece, because I know that not everybody's a member or keeps their membership active, and so I wouldn't
Absolutely
want
correct.
people to be left out, particularly.
Well, Ashley could help us with that too, once the commission says what they would so desire
Could I-
to have happen.
ask a question, Anthony or Junior, or what do you think the city commission wants us to do?
My takeaway from the whole conversation was what they typically say. They just want as much public input as possible to help guide the decisions that they wanna make. So I think, I agree with you. I think that particular ship may have sailed if we're trying to get on the 2026 ballot, and we may be in the position of just educating the public on what the recommendations are under like broad topic headings to get, stay away from the weeds. At least that's the way I see it, cause I'm thinking of the calendar in my head. They've gotta have it to the, what was it, in June?
Yes.
In June, which means it's gotta be, the city commission's gotta vote on everything prior to that, so you're talking
2 readings of an ordinance.
May.
Mhm.
So we're talking April, and now, that's 4 months.
So we want to get it to them
Or do you need an
pronto.
ordinance or is a resolution okay? calling for special election.
Mr. Chair,
So a resolution,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, the city, and I make this recommendation to you, Anthony, and to everybody across the board, the city needs to do a mailer into the people's homes. Clearly, exactly what's going on about the CRB, and exactly what's gonna come on the ballot in August about the, in August
They have
of
to decide what's
2026.
gonna go on the ballot first. They have to have a discussion. They say, here's the CRB recommendation. We don't like recommendations 6, 7,
It's
and 9.
almost like a save, excuse me to speak over you, but it's almost like a save the date card, you know what I'm saying? Just like, this is coming, this is gonna be coming here. Look for the news that's gonna be coming out regarding this, the charter revision board for the changes for the city. Just like my colleague here just said, you know, is it a yes or no that you do wanna change to this charter revision board? And just put it forward. You need to inform the people.
Listen, I just don't know what. I mean, I'm not, it's not within my expertise certainly to do a public relations campaign. I'm not writing any newsletters, I'm not sending out any
No, I
newsletters.
understand that, but I know we
That's
did
for
our
them
work
to
here.
do.
Right, but I'm saying as the 5 that we have here,
Yeah.
that we need to go forward and say, all right, folks, we did our job, you know, now it's time for you to act.
But on the same token, I've been slapped around there a couple of times. I'm trying to predict, I'm trying to do what they've, I'm trying to be a good board member. And I'm trying to do what they expect us to do. And having,
Sounds like we've done that, right?
well, because
think
last
so,
time I
but-
was there, the first time I was there with the very well-written report that Anthony and I and Paul slaved over. Not enough public input, too much information, blah, 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 blah.
So
Last time we were there, not enough public input.
So
What do they
let-
want?
let me-
I don't
let me
know.
ask you this, how does everyone feel about there being a vote today on we can't direct you, but encouraging staff to come up with a plan for public input that you all can deliver within, you know, some period of time, and then take that plan to the city commission with our recommendations. I mean,
It could even be something that the city manager's office tells us to do, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to come from the city commission, and I don't wanna speak for the city manager, but it could come from the city manager's office to direct us to do X, Y, and Z, whatever that is.
okay, so maybe it's a request then to the city manager.
If I'm a city commissioner, I would question having a whole bunch of recommendations that I have no intention of putting on the ballot go out to the public. I think it's a total waste of time. I
No,
have-
I'm saying take it to a request for the city manager to have a plan. So when they take our recommendations back to the city commission, they take it with a plan that they can implement, and
So in
and
other
then
words,
the
it would
commission
be,
considers it. It comes on as an item for a discussion item for the city commission to consider with the plan. So it's not just us saying,
do
you know,
something.
we're done with this, we're saying, okay, we're coming back, and we've also asked the city manager to come up with a plan, and this is their plan, and it's attached as exhibit A, and please discuss all of this, and we're done, thank you for
And are you saying
allowing us to
that the
serve.
subject matter of the plan would be determined by the city commission? In other words, they could say, we want you to do, that's a great PR plan, but we're only want you to do it for the ones that we want 5, 7, 9, and 11.
I think it's a recommendation from the city manager or city manager's office, because they have the pulse of what's happening with each of these commissioners in their district, and they're going out to the meetings and whatever they're doing. So I think that if it's a recommendation from the city manager's office to the commission, it's not us, because we don't know all of these things that I just said.
No.
So we're asking the manager to attach with our recommendations a plan for outreach.
On whatever the city commission wants to outreach on.
Whatever this manager recommends to the city commission, and the city commission can change in any way that they want. But they have a plan coming to them along with this, and we've done everything that we can possibly do at that
I
point.
just wanna make sure that we're communicating, I just wanna make sure that we're not just like, so are you saying, I think so the city manager makes a recommendation, here's the plan. What I'm trying to add to it, and I think you're agreeing, is that the city commission then has to decide what is the substance of what they're publicizing. Not the plan, not how they're publicizing it, but they're gonna say, we don't like this recommendation, we're not gonna publicize it. We don't like that recommendation, we're not gonna publicize it. 'Cause we're not putting those things on the ballot, so there's no reason to publicize it, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, we have nothing to do with what they decide to
Correct.
publicize or not. But at least they get our recommendations along with a plan. And because we just want a plan, we don't want it to go to the city commission with them saying again, as you said they've done before, you didn't do any outreach, well, we don't have the ability to do outreach as a committee ourselves. So we're taking it, they have a plan with it, and they can just decide it all and we're done. That's the vote, we're done.
Okay, yes,
Dare I ask, would it make sense to
No.
have a joint workshop?
no, they're not.
No,
Joint
they can
workshop
decide,
with
they decide
They
what they.
could, if they wanna meet with us,
Yeah.
that's great.
And they can listen to the meetings and they can
Right.
look at the
I mean, I don't
tapes and they can, yeah.
Yes, Nadine.
So like Mark.
The word time constraint needs to be somewhere,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if you planning on
2020.
November of
Yeah.
next year, it's some real time constraints need to get tied in
June.
probably
June, it's
within
gotta be
the
done by
June.
June.
60 days at max.
Well, June, we have to, even really May, we should be handing all this, should be done.
Yeah, so I mean, if we voted today consistent with what we're talking about, then I'm assuming you guys will try to do some type of plan and get it before the city commission as soon as possible.
Oh, yeah, I wanna do something,
Yeah.
I just.
So would that look like the second meeting in January perhaps?
Yeah,
That's what we were just
we
talking
do,
about.
yeah, we
For a
don't
joint
have
workshop?
any joint
No,
work.
joint, well, at least for me. I don't
You
want
want a joint workshop, I'll
I don't
listen,
think
I'm
a joint
not-
workshop will get you.
I
what
don't
you're
think
looking
it-
for.
yeah,
I don't think a
I-
joint workshop
no,
will get you what you're looking for.
no,
Because
I just
we had
think-
a couple and they didn't really result in a lot of
Yeah.
feedback that we could use.
Yeah,
that
we
was
just wanna
tangible.
be, we just wanna be.
Yeah, make them do the work.
We just wanna be done,
Another question, actually, this is, Gabrielle brought this to my attention. Do you want to address the issues that the mayor brought up do you wanna address them in any kind of way, make any kind of recommendations based on what he was proposing?
Well,
I think
that's
the
like
mayor- I think the-
multiple meetings.
I think the mayor should take that to his colleagues, frankly. So anyway, to kind of continue with what we were talking about, I'm wondering if that is something that, I mean, do you have any idea what, and I'm assuming the manager would probably say to you, since you've been sitting in all of these meetings, what would be your recommendation for an outreach plan? Do you have any idea that?
What my recommendation would be to
Yeah.
her? I think at a minimum, we should do at least an educational campaign to say, here's what the charter is, here's what the charter revision board recommended to the city
That's
commission.
where I
The
have a
city
problem,
commission
that's
has
where I
to-
don't think that's where we're not communicating, I'm not doing my job. Because you wanna have an outreach about what the charter review board recommended. I don't think
Yeah,
I
and
think
I don't
that's a
think-
bad thing to do.
Okay,
I
It
think
could be
that,
wasteful.
I think it could be very wasteful. I think that they should do outreach on what they intend to put on the ballot.
And then we'll do
What they're
that.
considering putting on the ballot, that's okay too. If they wanna say, I don't know if I wanna put this on the ballot or not, let's get some public outreach,
okay.
that's okay. But to just do it on the entire report, I think it's unless they buy into the entire report.
How about I do this, let me have a conversation with the city manager and talk this through, what the feedback is from the charter revision board and see what recommendations she has, because my only concern is if we're gonna go back to the commission and say, here's everything kind of in a, soup to nuts what was recommended. I don't know when we're gonna get that on an agenda, I'm sure we could walk it on or something or get it on quickly, but I'm just kind of nervous about what kind of feedback I'm actually gonna get, because
I
we
mean,
haven't
but
really
we-
received strong direction on any particular thing yet, but we
But we're
might.
done, we're
Anthony.
done, as Steve said, I'm sorry,
Okay.
as Richard said, we're done, I mean, this is our work.
I do have a little question about it. How did we leave it with the mayor? Cause I don't wanna be disrespectful. How did we leave it with him?
In terms of
He
his,
came and talked to us, right? He said, and so I maybe if I don't know what to do with that record. I don't know what to do with, he wants us to float the idea of a strong mayor. I think that's what he said, right?
I think
He
it's
wants
his
us to float the
expectation
idea
that
with a strong mayor.
something would
Well,
be on the
we
ballot.
did discuss it,
Yeah, we did.
and we said we didn't like it.
So.
Yeah, we don't like the idea of a strong mayor, right?
Alright, so, okay.
And I guess when the report goes to them, it'll be broken down that was a recommendation, and how do you wanna handle it, if they wanna put
There's
it
no
on,
recommendation on the strong mayor.
We are advisory, right? right? So, I mean, we've done our due diligence and
Okay.
We did
discussed it.
kind of go through the things he suggested, and I
So-
mean,
So I,
yeah.
All right.
Jim
Um,
had his hand up,
Just,
Jim.
Oh, okay, Jim.
I know,
You're so far away.
I know,
It's gonna get you better seats next time, so if you pay for a better ticket.
Okay, but
to Paul's point, one of the things that Dean brought up,
Yeah.
which
we
I
do, but there's no.
think has to be in the charter. David, Anthony, you could confirm,
just trying to
changing
get
from
to it.
4 districts to 6 districts, because as the city grows, this has been a discussion topic for quite some time. And doesn't that have to be part of the charter, so that would probably be a fundamental change to the charter?
Yeah, it
Yes.
would be, only we're not,
But-
nobody's recommending it here.
So
I'm not
would,
recommending
if that's,
it, but-
if it is a
I-
fundamental change to the charter, wouldn't that be something that we would have to include in our package, your package that's being sent?
But we're not
If we're interested, I mean, maybe I'm getting charter fatigue, but in order to have a discussion about redistricting, it's days and days and days of discussion. How the district, how many
Mr.
districts?
Chairman,
Yeah.
If I remember, when Dean was sitting right there, he stated, I would like this committee, out of his words, out of his mouth, I'd like this committee to consider what Jim just stated, that we have, consider 6 members of the city commission instead of 4 for the growth of the city. I remember him sitting say it right out of, I looked at him, I said, okay,
Yeah, so.
I remember him saying it right there.
But that is I mean, just remember doing the redistricting for the districts, what that took to make that happen, so. I think that's for the election in 28
And
and staggered terms. That also.
Staggered terms too.
so in terms of where we are right now, I'm gonna go back to what we were talking about. Do we want to ask that this go on, Anthony, the second meeting in January, no later than, with a plan from the city manager's office about outreach that they can consider? That way we deal with the issue of outreach that we can't do ourselves.
So that's a way to do it.
Are you guys okay with that?
I would like to sort of just get a consensus about, again, I wanna try to be respectful. Do we have any interest in further discussing this district matter that the mayor brought up? The strong mayor matter that the mayor brought up, or are we done? Yes.
I think he brought up valid things for discussion, but it's for this election, it's gonna be next fall or whatever, it's too late for us, cause those are like lengthy things to discuss. So I think
Okay, so
that's for the next election.
maybe the recommendation is that there's some outstanding items that we just ran out of time, and that they should be maybe there's another charter review board convened to discuss those items because.
So Mary, if I understand, and Mr. Chair, correct me wrong, you're saying after the 2028 election, then the CRB convenes again and then
I
they
mean, after the 2026,
no, cause they're
These are gonna be on in 2026 if they put it in.
2026, this will be on 2026, but they're all up for elections in 2028, or
Right
the
after.
mayor and all 4 of them.
true,
So
yeah.
they can
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it,
Yeah, but I mean, but we can have other things for the charter
No, I
and
think
that also.
if there's a majority of the city commission that wants us to wants to consider redistricting and strong mayor form of government, they can direct the charter review board to do that.
Okay, and that's why I wanted a little clarity.
They can, yeah, but it's at this point, it's just,
It's too late.
We've, I think.
Well, I don't, because the mayor's gonna say, well, I presented myself to the board and I read my list of things that I would like to see that the board, the CRB consider.
Okay.
Yeah, but and I get that, and you're not wrong, but it's really too late for us to consider that. What we're considering are the things that they told the charter revision board before.
yeah,
I'm gonna be devil's advocate, why?
Why what?
Why is it too late?
because this
Because it
stuff
takes
needs
so
to-
much discussion, and by the
This stuff
time we get it
needs
to
to-
them and they discuss it, and then they would give it, back and forth,
There's not gonna be enough time.
yeah, not enough time.
I'm just,
And that's what actually happened with the last Charter Revision Board, they, it just, I mean, I swear to God, I think we spent probably 9 hours on where the city manager lives. It was like, I know I'm exaggerating, but it seemed
Okay.
like 11.
So how do we wrap this?
Okay, so it seems to me that there's a consensus that these other topics, that we appreciate the mayor coming, that these other topics are good for consideration, but they're just beyond what we can do in the time that we have. So there's a motion to have the staff prepare a final report with all of our recommendations, to ask the city manager to attach to those recommendations an outreach plan, to inform the public as to any of the recommendations that the city council is contemplating putting on the ballot. And that's it. Nice to know you.
Yep.
Is that it?
That would be the motion.
Okay, that's a motion made by Bernadette.
Seconded.
Okay. And any discussion?
Call the question.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Okay, so,
Can I just say one thing? I mean, Anthony, I'll probably should say it to you, and I know that Michael and Jim will agree. Of course, the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Associations will inform the public of whatever they decide. You know, we're glad to do that, but after they decide.
Okay.
After the commission decides, I'm sure, right? Right.
Yes.
okay, so unless we get, specific direction from the city commission to reconvene, we're just not gonna schedule another meeting. But for the purpose of the sunshine law, I would think we should consider the fact that we're still on the board, so we shouldn't speak to each other.
You're on the board until your term's up and they ask you if you wanna be on it again. What are you talking about?
It has been such a pleasure working with all of you.
You're not done.
We're going nowhere. I'm here, you're here. Civics Nadine. Stop this way too, right?
Wait.
Thank God we did.
So Chair, just to understand, so moving forward, we're just gonna cancel the meetings
Well,
for the
yes,
future?
unless Paul has something,
Well, on the 8.09, there's a lot of discussion, and yes, there was clear direction.
which one is that?
8.09.
That was the last one, about the
Come on,
last one.
Paul, what are you doing?
1 to 3.
Yeah, the
I think that,
When Paul
you
said,
want-
of course, there was clear direction, okay, end of discussion.
so do you don't wanna see it back?
no, well, I think that if it's all right with you guys, I'll go over it with Paul and Anthony, and we're not gonna slip anything in there.
To
That would
ensure
be,
it's
that would be
consistent with the
January 8th if
discussion.
we came back.
And I'll work on a final report with Anthony and Paul. We'll send it to them, and we don't need to have another meeting about that. You know what we're doing.
And you'll circulate it, right?
We'll circulate it, yeah.
Are you guys, are you good with that? Are you? Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think we can circulate.
Well, I wanna come to another meeting and have those desserts.
This was just a one-time thing.
Well, we really can't circulate a draft and have everybody comment on the draft, cause that's a sunshine violation, right?
I mean,
We can circulate the draft,
No, he can circulate it, but.
can circulate it, but just
so
so
we, yeah.
so you
we
see
can-
what we're doing.
Just so we know.
Show up in
Well-
February for the vote.
What?
yeah,
Show up in February for the vote,
or whenever the,
or whenever we reconvene.
Okay, all right.
so you'll let us know if we can get it on that commission calendar?
I'll talk to you tomorrow, as soon as I can.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, the city clerk here, so he could tell.
Are you talking about on an actual agenda?
What?
On an actual agenda, are we looking at?
You guys, we're gonna leave it with you guys at this point. We're done, we're sort of done.
One question, Mr. Chair, will we be informed when that's actually gonna be on the agenda?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, you absolutely will be informed of
Public outreach.
everything that's happening around Charlotte. You'll be informed, yes, absolutely.
Make sure my time is there.
And we can notice, once it's on the agenda, we can notice it as we had in the past, that if more than one
I think they should
member
hire
would like to
Michael,
speak on the item, you could
I
speak.
think they should hire Michael to publicize the thing. That's a very nice, I don't get that kind of, do we get that kind of, do we have a newsletter?
It's nice like this, everybody
I haven't
always
gotten
gets
it,
it.
you probably crossed me off the list.
Richard, we go to the city to have this printed. City does this. We pay the
Really,
city
they have a
that.
budget for this?
Yeah, no.
Use the
We,
Richard.
Lakewood Civic Association
We all have our
pays the
sort of
city to have
little
this printed.
But Michael, your picture's in here 7 times.
I am the president.
get one in the mail 5 times, 4 or 5 times a year.
Probably Chuck it.
I am.
President, that's right.
Probably do. It says children's Christmas party on, and you open it up, there's all kinds of stuff like that.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
We love you.
You said motion adjourned, she's like, yes.
I did not mean that, I did not. Yeah.
All right.
I threw my voice.